if I pressed the mic on, wouldn't it? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and welcome to another episode of Post-Conference Presser for Anfield Index. The games just come thick and fast for the Devil Club, don't they? We literally vanquished Atletico last minute the other night, and the derby comes up. Liverpool are playing Everton. The Hill Dickinson boys will arrive Saturday, 12:30. I despise 12:30 kickoffs, not because mainly I've got to get up at a stupider time, but it just ain't the same atmosphere, is it? And that's something we'll be talking about, the need to make that for this game. I'm your host, Dave Davis, coming to you from pretty, just a meh Edinburgh, the way I describe it. Fingers crossed, wherever you are in the world, it is a good one. And it's 5 o'clock in the UK. It's 5 o'clock somewhere in the world, isn't it? So crack one open if you're watching at the same time. We'll go through the normal that we do on post-conference presser, people. We'll talk about Arne Slot's questions he was asked, the answers that he gave. We'll look at Atletico, the lessons to sort of focus on from that one. We'll talk about the threats that Everton offer. Don't laugh, because there is a few, to be fair, in this one. And we come unstuck on this one on a few occasions. And, of course, we will talk about the lineup, score and scorers. And I know what you're thinking, probably similar to me. The way the season started, the way everything's going, no injuries, just win. Never that straightforward because it's us, aren't we? But a last-minute winner will go down well. Let's get into it, though. What were the questions Arne Slot was asked? What are the answers that he gave? And I'll probably say with this one, not in a negative sense, but there wasn't really anything controversial, shall we say, or ones that you like raised your eyebrow out or really sort of fixated on. I've seen a few clips made up of it, and I don't really think from other sites it was anything of dismay. Probably what's interesting to say is, if you get 5 minutes, have a look at a few other managers' press conferences. See Pep Guardiola today talking about if Arteta wins the league or if Liverpool win the league, you've got to say they've just bought it. Have a watch of that clip if you get a minute. Have a watch as well of David Moyes talking about the fact that we spent more on one player than he spent on his entire squad when you look at Everton spending this summer. Oh, and the fact there's £100 million player on loan to them as well. Yeah, there's a few other press conferences kicking around, but we are here to talk about Arne Slot. Listen to what he had to say in a few bits, and that's probably key. Look at that for a statement. He was asked about the injuries. All of them are fit. I can choose between 21 players. Let me just repeat that. All of them are fit. I can choose between 21 players. I mean, if you're finishing work now, it doesn't get better than that on a Friday afternoon, does it? Hearing that. Curtis fit. Isak ready to go again. Name them. 21 players fit and ready to go, which is absolutely brilliant, especially when you look at how other teams, and touch wood it continues, have struggled or had a few knocks. You think especially of the ones in the Club World Cup. Let's not undersell that and the job being done by Ruben Peters, isn't it, and the S&C staff. Cracking start that was. And I know, like me, you wanted to know about Isak. That was the first pressing question. Let's say, is Isak going to be available? How's he going? It was kind of interlinked between a few other things like the training time, etc. But let's listen to what Arne Slot said on this.
What I do know is that Alex did feel his body more maybe than ever before after the 60 minutes he played. So let's see how he recovered, how he's recovered today, and then we're going to think about the lineup mainly today, and you will hear it then tomorrow.
It's a change to the routine as well because of the game on Wednesday. You're obviously training later today because you usually train a bit earlier than that. What's the thinking?
That has all to do with the early kickoff on Saturday. That we give them a little bit of extra time to recover, and one of the ways to recover really well is sleep, as we all know.
Yeah, one of the ways to recover really well is sleep. And I think a few clocked it as a bit strange because normally he does this press conference at 9 a.m. on a Friday, doesn't it? But it was moved to midday when the kickoff was around 24 hours later. So I get naturally people had that query. But as he answered there, give the players rest. That's what they need. Which also makes you think there's not going to be wholesale changes. We'll come to obviously the lineup very shortly. But even the way he talked about Isak, he's never felt his body like that or felt his body more than ever before. I mean, he was brilliant, wasn't he? I thought so many promising signs, so much to like. But probably the key takeaway from that is I wouldn't bet a single bean on Alexander Isak being in the starting lineup for this one. You may disagree. Throw your comments in the chat panel if you're watching, ladies and gents. Thank you for those that have already chucked them in. Thank you for those that are watching on all mediums. Isak. And that was a bit of a theme of his next question as well. And he looks a bit perturbed there, but he wasn't really. But if you listen to his answer, he was very non-committal when asked about Isak and Ekitike playing together. Have a listen to see if you agree with me.
What are you thinking is the best way to fit both of them into the side? Would you ever consider playing both of them together as a strike partnership, or you thinking Hugo would play more from the left if you're going to play both of them together?
Yeah, I consider, of course, because you consider many things, and it depends always on how well they are doing. So if both of them are in the best form of their life, you even consider more of playing them together. But it's also quite clear that we have a certain structure, which has mainly been 4-3-3, playing with 3 midfielders. But the amount of time, the end phase of the game, we've played with 2 9s. That has happened quite a lot as well. Hugo can indeed also play from the left, different than Cody or Rio do this. So yeah, we have, and that's the good thing about our squad, we have multiple options.
Yeah, almost and silkily navigated by Arne Slot, almost a politician type answer, wasn't it there? That we do have options. Yes, Ekitike can play from the left. Yes, he's different from Rio and Cody Gakpo. He's not the only one, though, at the same time, isn't he? We saw Florian Wirtz do a little bit of a stint on the left-hand side. There was a lot to like from that as well, wasn't it, at the same time? Non-committal, really. All I could take from those 2 clips personally, I would be astonished if Alexander Isak starts the Merseyside Derby, but we'll see. Rowan there in the chat saying Hugo should definitely start. We don't want Isak getting hurt. We all know how the derbies are like. I suppose it's an interesting one, Rowan and everyone, because people said the same about Atletico, didn't they, on Wednesday night, and talked about how they like to participate in the dark arts. And we saw Diego lose his shit. Well, that's a different discussion altogether for a short while. So there's that comes into it. I'm not sure the derbies are ever blood and thunder like we used to, although I know someone's going to pick me up straight away on that and say, do you remember when Tarkovsky basically maimed McAllister and got a yellow card for it last season? So you can drop that one into the mix on the other side. But I think I know which way my lineup's going, probably given enough clues there. Other little bits, he was talking about our players. Talk Mo Salah, and I like this as well. I prefer to see him like he was in the Atletico game, really involved, touched the ball so many times. It was a joy to watch. Yeah, it's just good to see Mo Salah touching the ball, Mo Salah back in the action, Mo Salah taking shots. And yes, there was the one which should have tucked away, but what a finish for that goal, holding off 3. The assist as well, I know people will laugh at this when you say assist. I think there's been a few, sounds like the JFK files this, a few new angles come out today where it actually looks, and David Lynch alluded to this, like he's trying to hit Alexander Isak running in at the far post, but you haven't really been able to tell that on a lot of the replays. So maybe that comes into the mix at the same time. But yeah, it was the tactic last season. Mo Salah is the best attacker. Even with the money spent, Mo Salah is the best attacker. Get him the ball, let him do damage, let him, and he's got to obviously build a connection with the others. But yeah, you want to see Mo Salah in dangerous positions against Everton as much as possible. We'll see. There's other bits in the press conference that I won't really tell you about. Of course, he previews Everton. There's another bit about new signings as well to mention. I won't give it you all. Worth a little read, as we always say. Worth a little watch if you do get the time. And just to reiterate, if you come in late, all of them are fit. You can choose between 21 players. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah? And Big C makes a good point there as well. Mo Salah also created a good chance for Hugo at the end. He should have scored. Is that one on his left, wasn't it, Big C, where he kind of lifts it over when the goal, well, just the keeper to beat, and he should really bury that. But players are in form. Players are starting to connect together. And that is one of the big things when we talk about the last game and the lessons we've learned that I think you've got to sort of positively look into. Atletico the other night, 3-2. Couple of big lessons for me on this. Things start to click a bit more. You could see I'm not going to say telepathic, I'm not going to say Torres, Gerrard-like, but there's a connection there between Isak and Wirtz. They integrated well. You could also see that Wirtz was just starting to kick up the gears. He just had that 10-15 minutes when he was sensational, didn't he? They'll just be annoyed on another day. Salah hits the post. He's robbed him an assist. That one where Isak clips him through and he should really go around the keeper and score. But hey-ho, a great performance. And it was the way it was clicking was one of the big things. The second thing is, I don't care what anyone says about this. This is the Devil's Club. Last-minute winners galore. And even Arne Slot, and I don't want to sort of give you this too much, it's worth watching it. He mentioned that it's not something you necessarily want to do because it can leave you fatigued, as he said, at the end of the season. And I get that. But at the same time, we're not going to go in the 92nd minute every week, are we? Are we? I don't think so. Just the way it is. Very much resembles Bayer Leverkusen, as people are talking about in the chat panel. But it's a strength that we have. So I don't mind embracing that for now. And I don't think it will go on forever. And the third big thing is for me that to really talk about, Virgil, sensational. Been the player of the season for me. Ryan Gravenberch, unbelievable so far this season. Brilliant. But it's just different when Mo Salah's on form. That's not to be derogatory. That's not taken away from a single other player. When Mo Salah is clicking, that attack can be insane. And you know he loves a derby. So you probably guess where my prediction's going to go on this one. But yeah, genuinely, despite needing a late goal, I mean, we destroyed him in terms of chances, big chances. We destroyed him in terms of the XG. We were just the better team. I would just face out people a little bit from the media narrative and the nonsense that's going on and just looking at it objectively. There was so much to like from this game. There really was. But that's in the past. And Saturday, 12:30, their fans leave the boo camp, don't they? And head to Anfield for 12:30. And as much as, you know, they'll be joking, there'll be an edge to this game. I've got to play this clip because I thought Arne Slot just struck the right tone on this.
There is rivalry, but what I also liked, and I want to emphasize in this moment maybe on that as well, what they did when Jogo passed away, coming to Anfield and be there. I think was the captain and a few, and of course they showed their respect on sports director to sports director and all these kind of things. So. In these moments of times, it's so nice to see that in those tragedies, the rivalry is still there, but the respect towards both is also there. So looking forward to the game tomorrow because it's every Anfield game is special, but this derby is even more special.
Yeah, love that. And you're right. You forget back to you think back to the tragedy of this summer, and you did see Everton coming down. You know. Showing their respects. There's always been that connection. Doesn't need me to talk about it. Real class from that club. And I think if anyone's seen it today, Beto was talking about a message that when he first arrived on Merseyside, the very first player to reach out to him, Diogo Jota, saying, if you need anything, just give me a bell. So there is a connection, of course there is, as we all know, between the two clubs there. It will be spicy as a football contest on Saturday. And when we talk about Everton threats, I mean, David Moyes' record at Anfield, if you've seen it, is absolutely honking. It is terrible, isn't it? However, records are always made to be broken at some point. We have to remember that. So you can't be too blasé with this. The other threats are just in terms of outside of the game. 12:30. We've got to react to that. Yeah. Everyone on the ground, the atmosphere, the responsibility there. That probably suits them more a bit, doesn't it? Just playing it down. So those come into the mix. In terms of actual players, I mean, you're looking at a few that aren't even theirs. Jack Grealish started the season well, hasn't he? Got a few assists for them, ultimately. So that's one to watch. Do like Ndiaye, to be fair. I think Ndiaye is a very, very good player. I do rate him as a player, especially. Beto, it's a funny one, isn't it? I wouldn't say he's the great striker, but he just turned into like a world beater at times when he faced us. And he obviously got that goal in the Goodison 2-2 draw, which made their DVD collection last season, didn't it? And then that is just one to think of, the likes of Tarkowski. Yeah. Set pieces. That's also what they will be looking for. So you can't be too blasé about this. Listen, if a football contest breaks out, power to us. No doubts about it. And then I'm going to sound a bit like Rafa or someone else now, but it's interesting just to know there is a yellow weather warning for the area about kickoff time. Wind, rain, who would want that? I think we know out of the two sides which one that would suit the best. So there are a few threats to keep an eye on. And we know at the same time they probably, yes, will go 4-5-1. Yes, they will try and spoil. Maybe not to Burnley's extent, but that's just going to be the nature of the game against these. Which leads to the final bit, ladies and gents. The lineup, score and scorers. Now, I think we got a few clues from the Atletico game, I've got to be honest. Some are straightforward. Ali's in nets. It's VVD, Canate at the back. I think it'll be Milos Kerkez. I do think that. And Ndiaye's pace. And I know Robbo got a deflected goal, but I thought he did struggle a bit. You know, their right side had a lot of joy for Atletico on Wednesday night. So I think Kerkez comes back in. Thing is, right back's fascinating for me because Frimpong started and came off. I don't think he did anything wrong, particularly. I thought he showed some good recoveries, you know, tackles. Thought he did well going forward at times as well. And I've got to be honest, when Conor Bradley came on, that's when things started to go wrong. And in fact, people talk about the second goal for them, Atletico Madrid. It actually comes from Conor Bradley doing a silly turn and losing the ball. That was the origin. People could have been in better positions, you can argue, but he really didn't have a good sub-appearance. But I still think it'll be Conor Bradley right back. So that's my back four. Ibu, Virgil, Milos Kerkez, Conor Bradley. Even though I wouldn't mind Jeremy Frimpong, but I don't think it will be. Into midfield. This is tough. What's easy is Ryan Gravenberch's going to start, especially after a brilliant performance the other night. Ryan Gravenberch is 100% going to start this one. He will be joined in the midfield, I believe, by Dominic Szoboszlai. I do think that'll be the double pivot. I could be wrong on this. I wouldn't be surprised, but both had great games. And we've seen with Maka, he's just working his way in a little bit at the moment, isn't he? If that's the best phrase, because of his pre-season, his injury and everything else. Again, I thought Grav and Szoboszlai had a great game. And I know you'll talk about fresh faces and getting those on, but yeah, that would be it for me. Wouldn't surprise me at all if it was Maka as one of those. But Ryan's saying there, Ryan is our best player this season. I think he's one of them. I'd probably just put Virgil ahead of him. Szoboszlai probably about level, but that is not to be, derogatory about anything Gravenberch's done this season. He's been brilliant. That would be my midfield. Although, actually, I'm being honest, that's what I think the midfield would be. Because if I had my way, just going to be crystal clear on this, Maka would play, Szoboszlai would play, Gravenberch would play, and Florian Wirtz would be off the left. If I had my way, it would be that box midfield, if you want to call it that, and try and control the middle of the park. I think that would suit us so well. Florian Wirtz on that left coming in. And then you've got Curtis back as an option as well. Don't think it will be, though, to be honest, people. I think you're going to see, there's nonsense in the chat panel about don't start Salah, start Frimpong. And always a reminder, don't smoke crack in the afternoon. But Mo Salah on the right wing, absolutely guaranteed, nailed on. 5 games, 3 goals, 2 assists. And this is a slow start to the season. Why anyone is coming for the king, I am absolutely bemused in the chat panel. But Mo Salah starts. I think it will be Hugo. I do think that. I think it's going to be Hugo. I think you got the clues from Arne Slot, especially if, quote unquote, Alexander Isak is feeling his body more than ever. It's got almost a reversal, isn't it? 60 minutes for Isak. 60 minutes for Ekitike, half an hour for Isak. That's where the smart money is. And then I think on the left would be a player I would say I wouldn't start in this one, but Cody Gakpo, I think, will start. And this is not trying to sort of just slam into Cody, but it was a great first game for him, wasn't it? And then even, I know assists can be misleading stats, but assists against Newcastle. And since then, I just think it's been a bit of a struggle for him. I really do. For me, he would not start this one. But I do think the forward line is Gakpo left, Ekitike middle, Mo Salah on the right. That is the lineup. A lot of thoughts in the chat panel on those as well. And Rowan makes a great point because we always talk about predicted lineup, score and scorers. Tough, this one. I've given him a lineup. 12:30 on a Saturday makes me a little bit nervous of this one. Them coming to spoil makes me a bit nervous around this one. I do not expect this to be an easy game by any means. But actually, my heart and head are telling me exactly the same thing for once. And they're telling me 2-1. They're telling me 2-1. And the people that aren't intoxicated, Mo Salah on the score sheet as well. Maybe I would love, as was suggested, an Isak winner, all those. But 2-1, Mo Salah to score. That is what I'm going for. And being asked there, is this tougher than Newcastle? There's a context to every game, isn't it? I mean, Newcastle, they were booing the players for some reason, getting off the coach, weren't they? There was the fans fired up. This one a little bit the opposite. As in, can it get up at 12:30 on a Saturday? Does it have to go late, with the players a bit tired because it's their first 3 in a week? And that's just why I think all that into the mix. Everton playing the 4-5-1, trying to nick it off set pieces. There's a toughness to all that as well, isn't there? Yeah. Don't want to be going to the well on this one. Can we go to the well on this one? How can we doubt them, though, based on everything we've seen recently? But 2-1, Mo Salah, that is my solid prediction. And a nice way to finish there, because I've seen that in the chat panel. It would be nice if the Everton fans sang the Jota song on 20 minutes. They have been brilliant as an ally of Liverpool Football Club for many years. As we all know, the history is there, doesn't it need to tell anyone? I'm sure everyone will be joining in that on 20 minutes. We will see what Saturday brings, isn't it? Less than 24 hours, people, before Liverpool play Everton at Anfield. Cannot wait. But on Friday, the 19th of September, that was another post-conference presser for Anfield Index.